Good morning. Good morning. Hope everyone is having an amazing morning thus far. It is your girl Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. We're here with another episode of Morning Inspiration with Friends, and I am excited to be here. So this week we've been talking about finances. We've been talking about how to use the gifts that God gave us to have the finances that we need, right? And so I think anytime I start having certain conversations, things will come up on my timeline. And this particular topic came up. And for, I think, a lot of people, they call it prosperity gospel. Why do people keep talking about the Bible and talk about money? Well, because God understands that we have a need. So I decided today that I wanted to, because so many people, don't realize the Bible is basically just a book with different principles, right? Principles that we can utilize in our own life, even here in 2025 and beyond. Whenever you're watching this video, you can still use this. So I'm going to highlight certain biblical stories that you can always return to in relation to this type of topic. So, like I said, Monday we spoke about how to use your gifts to start a side hustle. And then we spoke on yesterday about how to turn like your passion into like digital products. And so what it is that we have what we need, right? We have what we need. And when we have what we need, that means that God has already provided it to you. And so immediately when I was thinking about this yesterday, the example that I gave to the person in one of the social media comments was about the widow's oil. That was in 2 Kings 4, verses 1 through 7. You can find that story. And so, and if you don't know that, Elisha asked her, what do you have in your house? Meaning you already have access to something. What do you have in your house? And so when she realized, well, all I have is oil, right? In her mind, that's all that she had. And so Elisha told her to take that oil, take the jars and, fill it up. And it just kept on multiplying, right? So what started off, what should have just been like one thing of oil turned out to end up being multiple jars. And I think that's something that it's not just the fact that God's going to just miraculously give you multiple oils. No. First thing is that we have to look at it. You have to shift your vision. You have to shift your perspective at the things that you have, right? So often we look and say, I don't have any resources. I have nothing, right? And I've said it before. I've been in that situation. So it's very easy to say those types of things. I don't have anything. I don't have any resources. And when you're listening to what Elisha asked her, what do you have in your house? We might not have oil, but some of us have an excessive amount of bags, shoes, gadgets. And when that time of need comes, we should look in our house and see what we have. And I actually did this. So I always feel as though God does certain things so that you can see. And I remember, I think it was like, I was still at the charter school. So 2015, I think I paid my cousin to come and do a deep dive in my closet, like help me organize. My cousin is super organized. Shout out to Tisha. But she came and she counted all my bags. I had in total, I believe she said 57 bags, and mostly they're Coach. I was a Coach girl. That's how I grew up. And so when life got tough in 2016, that was one of the first things that I did, right? I used the app. I believe it was not Poshmark. It was another one. I don't think it's around anymore. I think it started with an M. And I went to that app, took the pictures, and I posted 3 bags. And I sold 2. Actually saw a picture of my mother with the third one. I still have the bag in New York. So she used it when she went to my cousin's baby shower. But I had to make money, right? And there's someone out there who was willing to pay for a used Coach bag. Heck, when things got better in my life, I wanted a Gucci bag. I went and purchased someone's used Gucci bag, right? Someone probably went in their closet and saying, I need, and they were able to take that and put it on sale and to use it. So we can learn a lot just from that one story with the women, with the widow's oil, right? Before you start saying, I don't have anything, what can you go? Now we have access to Craigslist still. Yes, y'all gonna hear, I still advocate for Craigslist. Okay. Craigslist is not the worst. We have Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. The cool thing that we have here in Tulsa Remote, we use Slack, and we actually have like a Slack channel where we're able to sell things, right? Because you could sell it, you could give it away. You know, it's different ways that you can do it. But there are people out there that will sell things, and so those people, again, it's not like I know people that are because the program for Tulsa Remote. Quick sidebar, in Tulsa Remote, it's only a year requirement. So some people don't stay after the year. Some people will leave and they will furnish their whole apartment, and then they will, when they're ready to leave, they will go right onto Slack, our Slack channel, and they now will sell everything that they have, or give it away. So there's ways to do it, right? Where you don't have to pay a fee. Like, I like those. So I say that to say, like, sometimes you feel as though you don't have anything and you have a lot. You have a lot. You have more than enough, but you have to look at it from that standpoint. And this way you can have someone look at you as Elisha and say, what do you have in your house? And you'll be able to supply for yourself. The second thing is when we look at the story of Moses in Exodus 4, right? Exodus 4, 1-5, when God asked Moses, what is in your hands? And Moses had a staff in his hand, which means that he already had the tools. He already had everything that he needed. The only thing that he needed in addition to that was what? He needed to have more faith. And so oftentimes, and Moses had a very unique story. Moses, he definitely doubted his ability. He did not, if he had it his way, Moses would not be Moses. Okay. Moses would be somewhere like, look, leave me alone and let me go over here. And I can understand that, Moses, because I be having them feelings sometimes too. But it's just about, it's like you already have it in your hands. You have it. It's already there. God is going to use it. You just have to have faith that it's going to have meaning. And I think that's where a lot of us, we do have issues, right? We don't see the authority that we are holding in our hands. And then when you have God's power that backs it up, like you can do anything, right? You can do anything. So that is just you having to now believe that. Okay. And so the last thing, this is going to be a short video today. The last thing is when we're looking at John 6, 1-13. And this is when we're looking at how Jesus is trying to fit, I believe it's what, 5,000 or 2,000 people. Let's double check. Y'all know me. I don't like to be wrong. I don't want to be like some people I've seen online. No shade. But yeah. So when we're looking at, so Jesus had all these people, and he had 6 fish. He had 5 loaves and 2 fish to feed how many people? How many people? Quickly. Thousands of people. We're gonna just leave it at that because the version I'm looking at doesn't even give me a number. But I know there was a number. But yeah, anyway, so Jesus he didn't have enough to feed everybody, but he had enough faith. And next thing you know, they had enough to give. They had enough left over, starting with 5, starting with 2. And that right there, again, I tell people, that's just faith. Taking what you have and believing that God is going to multiply it. We focus so much on addition, right? We just want people to add, or we want to just add. But when we get into the business of asking God to multiply our resources, that's where we're going to see the miracles, right? Because multiplication is going to help it to grow faster. When we're adding 2 + 2, well, 2 times 2 is also, but let's say we're adding 5 + 5, right? 5 plus 5 is 10. But when we multiply 5 times 5, what do we get? 25. So you have more typically. Let's put it that way. You will typically have more when it's time to multiply. So this is the reason why we have to get into this space and believing that God can multiply my money. That is one of my prayers for myself, my friends, and my family, to multiply our resources, multiply them, help them to grow faster, and help them to so that so that God can literally just do his big thing, right? He could do a big one in your life when you have that level of faith. And so this is the reason why we're using what we have, and we're just believing that God is going to multiply it. He's going to use it, and it's going to be meaningful and purposeful. And I think that the more that we continue to have these conversations and we see how we can utilize them in current day, 2025, and that walk that you have with God, it will help you to have a better understanding as to how you can continue to grow. So you might already have it, right? And I pray that you open up your eyes, and your prayer really might have to be with God. Help me to see what I have. Help me to see the value of what I already have ownership of and have possession of, and allow God to just come in and just do a great thing, right? Don't think of any limitations. Don't think of, oh, this is not possible, because the moment that you add doubt to it, is nothing's going to happen the way that it should happen, right? The one thing I learned from my sister when it comes to prayer, she prays and she leaves it right there. She doesn't think about it. She doesn't fiddle with it. She doesn't worry. And then next thing you know, God just comes in and God does what God does. And it's just like, wow. And it's like, because I didn't sit and worry about it. I didn't sit and ponder on it. I didn't sit and look at it and stare at it and just, when is it going to change? When is it going to change? No, she took it and she let God just do whatever he wants to do in that God ordained time. And that's what a lot of us have to do, right? We have to really get to that space and that place. So as always, for this week, I've been wanting, not only this week, but I do want to leave you with a prompt, because as always, I want you to go to God and have these conversations with him. This is a very important time in our lives that we have to get into a space of saying, okay, God, what is it that you already placed in my hand that I've been overlooking, that I've been doubting, or that I've been underusing? Think about every skill, every talent, every ability that you have, and ask God to help you to use this and to see the value in it. Because a lot of us are just not seeing the value. And it's something that is very purposeful out there. Someone out there needs it. And I'm going to tell you this, it's just a bonus I just dropped in my spirit. Someone out there needs it, and it might not be in your community. It might not be in your hometown. So you got to really get into a really small space and a quiet space with God, and let him really penetrate your heart and give you those ideas so that you can see the potential. So I don't want you to keep thinking like it's not possible. No, it is. It is possible. God can use, and he can turn things around using those same talent, gifts, and abilities. But as always, you have been hearing me use it all week. You have to be available. You have to make yourself available. If you are not making yourself available, then guess what? It's just not going to happen, right? If you're always tired, it's not going to happen. If you're always thinking that you can't do it because you don't have the time, or, then you know what? You're right. It's not going to happen. And you have already came into agreement with that. So we're going to stop here. Like I said, it's going to be a very short video today, but I just wanted to give you this, and I want to continue to encourage you. Whatever your finances are looking like, they can change. And I pray that you see that they can change. And I pray that you can play a part in that change. And it might not necessarily be update your resume and go get a new job. It might be tapping into what is already there, what you already have access to. And some of you, you might need to let go of some of those physical possessions. Some of you might be hoarding a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm not going to name the people in case they do watch this video, but I know a lot of people, you're hoarding a lot of things. And if you was to let go of some of them things, you would have an abundance. But we ain't going to talk about that. Okay? So I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. Make sure you are joining us every Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern. And we are here on Thursdays, tomorrow's going to be a good one. Tomorrow's Throwback Thursday is going to be on fire. It's one of my teachings that I did back in 2023 related to this topic of using the talent, skills, and abilities that you have to make the money that you need. Okay. So I am fully encouraged. And I hope that you are encouraged to go out here and just start doing a new thing in your life. Make those changes so that you can have everything that you need, plus being proactive so you can go out there and, solve your own problems, right? God is going to use you to solve your own problems. I'm gonna make that into a post. God is going to use you to solve your own problems. My God. All right. So I'll see you all here tomorrow on for Throwback Thursday. And you'll see me again live on Friday at 7 a.m. Again, don't forget next week. Next week is going to be all pre-recorded. I'm taking a little break for a week, but I'll be back the following week live. But every day next week will be a pre-recording. And we're going to continue with this topic. This month, we're focusing on finances and favor. Finances and favor for the month of June. I believe that all of our finances can grow, our finances can change for the better, and you have the opportunity to do that. So let's make it happen. I am your girl. Have a good one. Be well and be blessed.